Yeah, we are live. We are live from underneath a monster's bed. An appropriate location to be on this. Apparently, is it Friday the 13th? It is. I did not realize that until chat was discussing the date. But I'm the Etcetera kid. And if this is the first time watching the show, what I do here is I do improv, musical improv, and but I get a lot of help from you guys. You guys choose the sounds, you guys choose the speed of the song, the key of the song. I turn your usernames to drum loops and drum fills. You guys come up with catchy titles. So it's a collaborative effort that we have here. And speaking of collaboration, looks like there's already a bunch of our team is here. I've got a lot of requests already. And let's see who's here. I see on my screen, I see that Dom is here, Dorf is here, Nifty Guy, Lost Elf, Fafel, Chief Cheddar, Jonas Kyle, Word Salad, nice. I think I saw Ariona earlier. If I did not say hello to you, it's because there's limited space on my screen and I only see the last sort of 8 or 9 people who have said something in chat. But hello to everybody. Tizonium is here. Hello to my lovely lurkers. Ninja Fleas is here. So I was literally 15 minutes ago, I was debating whether I was going to do the show. I decided I was going to power through, give it my best effort, but I am way below 100% at the moment. As I was doing my test show, I do a test show before the real show, and I had to lie down several times, and that was not auspicious. And then I was setting up one of the cameras, and as I was walking away, I felt my foot catch a cable. And it's funny how your brain is able to think very quickly in those moments, quickly enough to realize I do not know what that cable is attached to. I do not know how much damage I'm going to cause if I yank that cable. And so I made this split-second decision that I was going to sacrifice myself over whatever that cable might be. And so, because I had this forward momentum, so I either had the option of yanking that cable much harder than it already was being yanked, or sending my body forwards in the air like Superman, which I did. And Jiffy rushed over to me. He was so concerned. But yeah, so I'm a little out of it. I'm making weird technical mistakes and tripping on wires, and so I've just been a little under the weather all day. But my hope is that sometimes doing something like this will take my mind off it, and I'll be back at 100% in an hour. Who knows? So I'm gonna do my best, but I'm telling you guys up front, just so you know, I may have to cut the show short, and I may make a lot of mistakes, but I'm gonna do my absolute best to persevere, because I'm like I try to be like the Postal Service, you know, rain through all weather, delivering James you guys' way, no matter what, if I can pull it off. So let's see, let's start bringing these requests. I think I can say I'm not going to do anything fast today, though. Unless what's funny is that I think because of yesterday's show, there's all these requests for super slow stuff. 'Cause what did we end on last night? Was it 50? I think it was 50. But we'll start at something sort of not too slow, but definitely not fast. Let's see. If you're wondering, the tempo and the key are the only things that I don't let the bot decide on its own. And that's because, one, I don't want, if the bot were to choose, it could theoretically choose the same tempo over and over again, or it could choose the same key over and over again. I like to have them varied a bit. Also, if I'm being totally honest, I like to sometimes be able to censor the BPM requests because I'm just not up for when someone requests 250 beats a minute or something. I say, yeah, that's not happening today. Let's see. Where are we at? Okay. Let's see. There we go. So we got a key of F minor from Fafel, 77 beats a minute from Manofplate, drum loops from Chief Cheddar and Jonas Kyle. We got a full set of sounds, full set of drum fills. Yeah, let's see. I feel like there was something I wanted to tell you guys, but I can't remember. My brain feels pretty foggy today. Pretty foggy. Hey, Greeley. I know, I'm just not set up for 6/8 yet. I made the mistake of designing some of the looping stuff in a way that really works with 4/4 only. I suppose it could probably work with 12/8. Is that right? No, I mean, yeah, 12/8. But 6/8, it would not work. But I should test it on 12/8 sometime. I should do that. I don't have anywhere. Hold on, just a sec. I'm going to try at some point to do a test offline of 12/8 and make sure that it doesn't mess up anything. Because that would be nice to mix it up every once in a while. Some triplets instead of 16 notes all the time. So for any guys who I'm talking Greek to at the moment, pretty much 95%, 99% of the stuff you've heard me do on this show, the beat is subdivided into 2s and 4s. And that's true for the vast majority of music you're going to hear, for that matter. But you can also subdivide music into 3s. I mean, you can subdivide it into any number, but the most common one is divided into 4s or 3s. But 3s is, in certain genres of music, is quite common. Like in the blues, it tends to be divided into 3s. And then you get crazy music like one of my favorite bands of all time, Mahavishnu Orchestra, who do like the most it's insane what they do. Insane in terms of time. But anyway, this show has mostly been 2s and 4s, and that's just sort of arbitrary based on some programming decisions I made early on. Let's see. You guys have given me, I see the brush kit, nice, from Greeley99. That is a nice way to start the show. Hey, it's Nathan Rothschild. So Nathan Rothschild, I did see your Say My Name. I'm debating. I'm a little worried some people might be confused if I say Nate, and not know that Nate is short for Nathan. I mean, in the U.S., I feel like we would all know that, but since it's sort of an international audience, so I was hesitating. If you feel really strongly that you want to be Nate, I'll do it. But my inclination is to do Nathan for short. But it's up to you. It's up to you. Because I think Nate is close enough. Enough people will get it. But so that I hesitated. But you tell me what you think. Because it's just that when you do something amazing in chat and I refer to you, I want everyone to know that I'm talking about you. That's why I hesitated. Let's see. Lake. Did I say hi to Lakeo? Lakeo7. How you doing, Lakeo7? I'm doing okay. I'm as I was telling Chad, I'm feeling a little I'm under the weather. I'm not sure if how long I'm gonna last, but I know you guys. I just appreciate so much how you guys show up first thing, and I needed to be there for you. I needed to at least make an effort. I need to try, see if I can do it. So we'll see. See if I can. Nathan Roth. Okay, that's good. Let's go with Nathan Roth. Maybe if you can help me out, Nathan Roth, is do another Say My Name. Because if you run that command, it'll go into my system and I'll be able to just press a button and it'll automatically fix it for me everywhere. Otherwise, I have to manually do it and it'll take me like a little while. So it's easier if you can run that command for me. And actually, I saw Dorf was here, right? Can you remind me, Dorf, if you prefer to be Dorfo6 or Dorf? It's fine either way. I just I couldn't remember when I was doing a shout out recently which one you prefer. Okay. Let's see. Let's look at this. Let's look at this first loop. Chief Cheddar, here we go. Raw from the generator. It's so funny how my brain quickly, and it probably happens for you guys too, if I'm not paying attention when the beat starts, as soon as I hear that first kick drum, that's where one is. I'm just so used to, unless kick is clearly on beat 2, but in this case, the first kick is on the 4th 16th of beat 1. So it does not feel, but we're adding it, just by adding this one kick here, I've immediately established where we are in time. And I'm going to do that further by giving us an 8th note pulse with dropping those hats a bit. These two snares we're going to do as ghosts. Ghost notes sound so awesome on this kit, with brush kit. You could have constant snare drum, every single 16th note on here, and it would sound great. That open hi-hat ringing out is really nice right there. Okay, let's check it out. Here it is. Northern Borealis, if I have Discord yet, I was recently introduced to Discord by our lovely moderator, Shipsnacks, who is in Taiwan now. And we set up a moderator Discord. So, but that means I do now have a Discord account. And it is, I am going to set up something. I still need to learn a little bit more about, we'll just sort of figure out how we'll use it, the benefits, and if there'll be limits on it, how it'll work. But as of now, the answer is no. Okay, that was Chief Cheddar's beat. Let's check out Jonas's beat. Yeah, and suggest is good if, you know, those extra suggests definitely put extra pressure on me to prioritize things. Even if they're, you know, even if like it's something you've already heard me talk about, that extra suggest, you know, will say, hey kid, make this a priority. Okay, let's add a kick there. These two we're going to drop a bit. Well, I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, I want a hat there. I'll put an open hat here. That looks good. Here it is, Jonas's beat. Nice. Nice. Those are two nice, gentle beats. Gentle beats from my head. Nice and gentle, not pounding hard snare drums on my aching head. Just gentle brushstrokes. Lovely. I am actually feeling a little better than I was 45 minutes ago, so I think you guys are good medicine. Thank you. Still got a ways to go, but we'll see. I'm doing my best. Voice bass from Casilton. Slapped electric bass from Kid Charlemagne. There it is. Dobro chords from Dom. I gotta remember where's minor. Trombones from Fulfill Maestro. That's good, because I don't know if I can play trombone today. Yeah, the cool thing with headphones is that, well, one, you'll hear the bass a lot better probably than through your little computer speakers. It might be too loud for that matter. Two, a lot of the sounds, a lot of the pad sounds do really sweet stereo effects. You'll also, a lot of the drum kits are stereo, so when they're drum fills, you'll sort of hear them go from one side of your head to the other. There's definitely benefits. The downside is that every once in a while I play something a little too loud and you'll be unhappy. But see, I've got in-ear monitors, and they're running through what's called a limiter. Because the sound is so close to my eardrums, if I had a major spike, it would basically, my head would explode. I'd go deaf. So there's a limiter that I have running that it's like a brick wall. It's like sound cannot go past that at a certain level. That's really not as important if you're wearing headphones. It's more just annoying and grating when a sound is too loud. But just for any of you guys, if you're wearing in-ear monitors, when you're watching me or anything, just be real careful, because the sound is so close to your eardrum, there's not a lot of room for error. 80 sync lead, Lost Elf. And I don't know if this is true, but I feel like our ears, maybe someone could correct me, this is, I believe is true, but is our ears sort of adapt to the volume level. So like you go to a rock concert, you're sort of, it's insanely loud, it's bad for your hearing, but it's constant, your ears are sort of ready for it. But if just out of nowhere, unexpectedly, you had the volume of a rock concert, say you're in a library, it would be painful, because your ear's not ready for it. Let's see. Attacky from Word Salad. Did I credit Wastel for 80 sync lead? I hope so. See, like there it was. That sounds a little louder than it should have been. Maybe I should just start all my sounds quieter there. Well, but okay, we got our sounds. Oh, good. I've Greeley asks, what in-ear monitors do you use? Honestly, I don't remember. I got these in-ear monitors like probably 15, 18 years ago, maybe. I was in a band and still have them. I say if they're still working, don't get anything new. I hate buying new gear. I always try to make the old gear work as long as possible. I'm using, because there's 3 computers and I needed 3 sound cards. I need a sound card for every computer, which was such a bummer. I thought I would only need 2. And I'm using this old PreSonus FirePod on my PC that I've had probably over 10 years, I think, or longer. Technically, it is not even compatible with Windows 10, but I figured out a way to make it work. This is nice because buying a new quality sound card, it's a couple $100. So yeah, it's definitely that's my philosophy, is try to make what you have work if at all possible. Only buy new when you absolutely have to. And try to buy used if you can, especially with music gear. You get such a better deal on used. Okay, let's see. You guys choose the sound order. Escape Pods just wrote, Windows 10 isn't compatible with Windows 10. I love that. That's pretty awesome. That reminds me of, like, when there's like these scary medical conditions where you're literally allergic to yourself. Like you are not compatible with yourself. Okay, can we start with one of those drum loops or with voice bass? Slapped electric bass. And I got to remember with this sound, if I hit the note really hard, it does a bend, which can be cool, but I did one improv for you guys, and I didn't remember that. And I did that. I just rammed right into this lick, and every note was bending. I didn't love it. I didn't love how it sounded. So I got to remember to not hit it so hard. Dobro chords. Trombones. 80 sync lead. And a tacky with this random E at the end. Here's my theory about that sound is I think the E is either a mistake, they didn't mean to put it on there, or they meant to say attacker and they forgot the R or the D. But I don't think it was supposed to be A-T-T-A-C-K-E. But that's what it is. Dom says I'm not compatible with myself. You guys are timed to Etcetera a little earlier. We have to choose the sound first. I guess I know what it meant. That's the nice way for you guys to tell me I'm talking too much. It's like, okay, kid, time to Etcetera. Does A-T-T-A-C-K-E mean anything in any other language? Anyone know? Attacky. Oh yeah, maybe that's it. But what you wrote makes more sense, Dom. If it was attacky with a Y. Attacky. That's actually a good word there. Attacky. Attacky. Like we need to turn that into a something useful for our channel. What does attacky mean, guys? Why don't you guys decide what it means? And we'll add it to our lexicon. Am I using that word right? Lexicon. Add it to our lexicon. Okay. I'll give you guys a second more while I look up lexicon. Yes, yes. The vocabulary for person, language, or branch of knowledge, our lexicon. Manofplate says time to decelerate. Yep, too much talking. Okay, I'm anybody. We're gonna launch into some music. There it is, dobro chords. Starting with dobro chords. Here's the thing with dobro chords. Oh, it's Aquintus says it's German for attack. Huh. Aquintus, are you German? Well, you guys can still come up with definitions for attacky with a Y. A-T-T-A-C-K-Y, what that will mean. Hey, Unknown, welcome back. Oh, and George is here. So, George, I need some clarification. So I think I was thrown because the way you spelled Takai, I've been reading it George Takai because that's what I see. K-A-I to me is Kai. But George Takai, well, George Takei is spelled A-K-E-I. So my question to you, because I know several people have mentioned to me, you're mispronouncing his username. It should be George Takei. But I don't know if I am mispronouncing it. You tell me, do you want me to say it George Takei, like the actor's name, or George Takai? I'll do either way. But I was thrown by the spelling difference. George says, dude, is your dad me? Oh, I get it. I sometimes see these messages out of context. Okay, so George says my name's just spelled wrong. So meaning I need to convert now to George Takei. George Takei. Okay. It's gonna take me a while because I got so used to calling you George Takai, but I'm gonna work on it. It'll take me a little while to remember. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? Hold on, guys. Hold on 1 second. This will guarantee I get it immediately. Well, at least help in chat. Okay, now I have it. Okay, now it is time. Oh, that's not good. Record locking. There we go. Okay, first song of the day. Starting with dom chords. So the thing with dom chords, dobro chords, is because of the slide, I pretty much can only do half notes or whole notes. If I try to play quarter notes or eighth notes, it never actually has time to get to where it means to be going. So if you guys wonder why I generally do the same thing over and over with dobro chords, that's the reason, is because I'm pretty much limited to half notes or whole notes. And for you guys who don't know what that means, a half note or a whole note, a half note is 2 beats long and a whole note is 4 beats, assuming that you're in 4/4 time. A whole note typically means whatever the length of your measure is, if you're doing longer stuff, I believe. Whereas a half note, well, it's been a while since I've thought about it. I could be wrong on that. That's my memory, is that a whole note used for the whole measure, but maybe it's always just 4 beats. I can't remember. Okay, here we go. George Takei says, if Kid was wearing some light brown pants, he'd look like Shaggy Rogers' dad. Okay, here we go. First song of the day. It's taken me a while to get there, but I'm doing it now. And we are in F minor. Just need a quick reminder for myself. I'm unlocking you. Camera 3, you are now free to roam. Free to roam, Camera 3. Here we go. Yeah, a nice little start to the show. Fafel asks, does a kid ever play the harmonica? I do not. I'm learning it. That's my current new instrument that I'm trying to learn. I haven't had a lot of time, but I love the harmonica. I was part of the reason I got the Melodica. It's like the closest thing I could do to a harmonica right now. So we had, such a nice kit. Thank you, Greeley, for that studio brush kit. That was the right way to start off the day. Lovely loops from Chief Cheddar and Jonas. I was digging all those sounds you guys gave me. Yeah, that was a nice one. A little mysterious. Okay. Hey, Astros fan, welcome back. How you doing? Okay, time to come up with a title. Oh, thanks, Fafel. Anyone who likes harmonica, you might, I think everyone's heard sort of real bluesy harmonica, right? But there's also, and that's bluesy harmonica is primarily played on a diatonic harmonica. It looks very small. It looks like this. But there's also what's called a chromatic harmonica. So diatonic means it'd be like on a piano. It's just the white notes. It's not every note, and it's in a specific key. A chromatic harmonica is much bigger, and you can play every note. Well, I mean, not necessarily every note that exists, but every note in Western harmony within a specific range. But if you're curious what that sounds like, Stevie Wonder plays a chromatic harmonica, but maybe the most well-known chromatic harmonica player is a jazz musician named Toots Thielemans. I think was he Belgian or French? I'm not sure. Plays lovely stuff on the chromatic. And then there's this guy named Howard Levy who played harmonica with on the first couple Bela Fleck and the Flecktones records, and I think he might be with them again. He plays a diatonic harmonica, but he's able to play every note on it. It's at rapid, intense speeds. It's one of the most virtuosic things I've ever heard. Is this guy Howard Levy on the harmonica? It just boggles my mind how he's able to do it. Okay, let's look at these titles you guys came up with. We have from Nathan Roth, we have Fragments of the Lost Blues. Oh, so I did some coding changes today that I'd intended to test before the show. And as I pressed that button, I realized I had not. I'm really hoping things don't break. Keeping fingers crossed. But actually, hold on, guys. I just need to make one quick change. Okay. From AstroFans82, we have Almost Careless Whisper. That's nice. Let's see. You guys did a lot this time. I think it's like the most for the first song of the day. From Northern Boreal, we have Space Miners from Dobro. And two more. Let's see. Cowboy's Asteroid Belt from Dom Dude. And from George to K, Beneath the City. Okay, those are your options. Fragments of the Lost Blues, Almost Careless Whisper, Space Miners from Dobro, Cowboys Asteroid Belt, and Beneath the City. Yeah, Escape Pod sees things the pod recognizes. This is why I dig FileMaker, is that I wanted a different field on this one screen I was looking at, and it took me, 10 seconds, 5 seconds to do it. I'm just on the screen. I switch into layout mode. I change the field. Boom! It's changed. It's done. So fast. What did I do? I did Melodica. Oh, thank you so much, Northern Boreal. Northern Boreal just did a donation. Thank you. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Wow. Wow. Oh, that's good. Thank you. George Takei asks, is there a huge pile of instruments in the corner? Yes, there is. Most of which you guys have now seen me play, but some are missing. Oh, we got follows from our friend Nathan Roth and Chubby Darter. Thanks for the follows. Thanks for supporting live music. George asks, what's the command for suggesting donation quotes? It's !bot and then donate thanks, I think. See, I don't even remember. It's on the bot page, all the things, but I think it's either donate thanks or donation thanks. But there's so many now, and there's going to be more and more. There's already, like, I don't know, 10 or something. And in my database, I've got about 30 or 40 that are pending. I try to do just a few at a time. I think at some point, Northern Boreal will do a behind-the-scenes thing. I've been telling, when I finally start doing the social media thing, one of the first things I'll do is some behind-the-scenes photos. But yeah, it looks totally empty behind me. It is a mess to this side of me. Total mess. Not a mess. It's not. I'm not really a messy person, but it is cluttered because there's just a lot of stuff over there. There's all these. There's two cameras on really high stands. There's a stand that has a boom pole, so the microphone is suspended above my head. I've got a little table with all my instruments on it. I've got some things I need to sell. Got a sweet little amplifier, guitar amp. It's pretty cluttered. But I had to push everything over here. I mean, I've got this is a room within a room. It's part of a bigger space, but this is the part that is somewhat soundproofed. Okay, ending voting. Let's see, you guys chose Cowboy's Asteroid Belt. This came from Dom. Nice. So that track will be forever remembered as Cowboy's Asteroid Belt. But thank you, everyone, for your suggestions. That was a really nice set of suggestions. Dom's got a lot in there. Look at that. Sweden Doo-Wop. Frigid Flame. Racing the Deluge. Kid versus the Machines, Piccadilly Circus, prolific, Dom. That was one of the things I was coding today, was a way to make it easier for me to get stats, individual stats on I'm not sure how I'm going to use that yet. Well, I have some ways of using it internally that is helpful for me, but at some point you guys will be able to access your stats very easily. You'll be able to know like how many, because everything you guys give me is stored and linked to your username. Okay, let's see. Let's carry on. I should probably for all the title thanks, I should probably include the number, right? Because you guys like to see that. Otherwise, you're going to count. Because that's one of the variables in BotTalk for title thanks. Or title congrats, sorry. Title congrats. Elite says, did you read my last message? I don't think so. That's the first message I've seen from you. So ask it again. Sorry, I must have missed it. Or did you send me a message some other way? Is that what you mean? I've been out of it today, so I have not checked my Twitch messages or I think some people might have sent me some snaps. I haven't done anything. I just was not feeling good. Okay, I'm creating a new empty track for us to fill. So I'm slowly feeling a little better. Yeah, I sort of answered. I thought I answered that a little bit yesterday. It's on my list, and it will happen, I think, eventually. It's just I have limited time, and I have limited resources, and I have to think very strategically about how I spend my time right now in order to make this show sustainable, since I do not have a sugar mama or a plush bank account. And so for strategic reasons, I have other things that I'm having to prioritize. But eventually it is, I know it's been awesome that so many people have expressed interest in that. And it should happen, but I can't tell you exactly when it will happen. But it is on the list, and it's high on the list, but there are other things that are higher. Because it's going to be a really big project. Very big project. Okay, let's see. We are going to start bringing in these requests. Yeah, the thing that is actually at the top of my list at the moment is I'm working on finally starting to deal with the branding, logo, that kind of stuff. When I'm offline screen, all that. It's about time I address those things. Okay, wow, you guys, a lot of BPM requests. I think we'll pick it up a little bit. A little faster. And let's see. Okay, bringing in the requests. Nathan has offered to be my sugar mama. Nice. George says, gotta donate a sugar mama. I think it's that I put a ton of time and investment, both time-wise and money, in order to start this show. I mean, I took a leap of faith. It took me 5 months to prep before I streamed a single second, having no idea if anyone would like it. So I put in a lot of effort. So I'm really trying to think strategically in a way that I can do this for the long term. So it doesn't. I'm not thinking short-term gains. A short-term gain doesn't do much for me. I need something long-term that's sustainable. And so some of the decisions I might make might seem strange. I was like, why hasn't the kid done X yet? Or why hasn't the kid done Y yet? It seems like you do that by now. But there is a method to my madness, and it's called long-term strategic planning. And some of it is just madness that has nothing to do with strategy. It's just my own madness. Okay, we have key of B from Ariona Esquire, 90 beats a minute from Ninja Fleas, drum loops from Fractured Encoding, and a quintus. Oh, I thought I saw. Okay, there it is. We have full set of drum fills and sounds. We'll look at these momentarily. Thank you, Northern Boreal. Thank you. Fractures asked about a sub button. I'm not sure yet if, how, when I will pursue that. So I have not applied yet for it. And again, that involves some strategic reasoning behind that. Why I am not pursuing that yet. There are definitely some big benefits to it, but yeah, there's a lot of complicated considerations. Mainly because I'm trying to build something that will be sustainable, and yeah. So I don't rush into things. Basically, I'm moving slowly in certain areas until I make sure that it's the right path and it's going to help the channel continue for the long term. So that's why. But it is. I should say this. I do really appreciate when people are excited about the subs and like, when am I going to get partnership? That is awesome to hear from you guys. So I do appreciate that, but that's why I'm not. I move slowly on things. I'm thinking long term. How can I make this work for the long term? Okay, We are loading up our slots while I get everything back to 0. Hey, it's Crazy 8. Is that how you want me to say it? Thank you. I like green too. I think green might be my favorite color as well. Let's see. We have Portland Kit from Nathan Roth. That's a nice acoustic kit. So we're going to import our track names, generate our drum fills, generate our drum loops. And there they are, fraction encoding. How you doing, fraction encoding? Okay, here it is. Let's check it out. Raw from the generator. That's pretty sweet. That's a sweet beat just right there. I'm just going to add a kick. I'm loving the snare drum pattern. I'm going to drop those snares just a little bit except for the last one. And these hats we're going to just drop a tiny bit. But that's a pretty sweet beat, just raw right there. Nice. That's sweet. Now let's check out a Quintus raw from the generator. Snares, I like. The snare drum is a nice snare drum on this kit. It's a little raggedy. I like it. I like how raggedy it is. Add a snare right there. Let's add a kick there. I think we want a hi-hat there. And that should be it. Don't want to... Yeah, let's check that out. Yeah. Those are both great beats there. Thank you, Fraction Encoding and Quintus. Okay, we've got Arctic Noise lead from Casilton. We got saturated picked bass from Nifty Guy. Dark bass drive from Elite. Caribbean steel drums from Chief Cheddar. That's pretty cool low. Bluegrass banjo from Kid Charlemagne. That's one of the things that I like about keyboard versions of real sounds, is that on one hand, the thing I don't like is obviously it's never going to be as good as the actual instrument. However, what I do like is that an actual banjo would not have this many notes. It would not have 88 notes. And so they have to sort of extrapolate what the instrument would sound like in those ranges. So you can do these things that an actual banjo would never do. Or like steel drums, I don't know that you could actually have a steel drum that would get this. You'd have to have, it would be so gigantic to get all those notes. Anyway, the bluegrass banjos from Kid Charlemagne, we've got choir pad Velo, or Velo from a Quintus. Okay, let's see. So we have our sounds. You guys are going to choose which one starts the improv. So let me bring up my little poll. I just got a awesome donation from Escape Pods and a lovely note. Thank you so much, Escape Pods. It's been awesome having you here, joining the show, especially that you're somebody who can get it when I make a FileMaker reference. I feel so lonely. My whole life I've never had anyone I can talk FileMaker about with. Speaking of, do you do other kinds of coding as well? My skills are best at FileMaker, but I also do a lot of Max programming and some PHP and JavaScript. But definitely, I've done the most with FileMaker because I'm lazy and I like to get things done quick. That's what FileMaker is good for. There's a lot of things it's bad for, but for me, that's the good thing. So I have not yet fixed this one thing, so I'm having to manually fix something. But thank you, Escape Pods. Thank you so much. I see. See, I'm so hardcore, Escape Pods. I'm using FileMaker Server. That's how hardcore I am. I've got 3 computers all talking to the server. Okay, let's see what you got. Oh, I forgot to press the button. I'm sorry. I've been gabbing. You guys will need to vote again. I apologize. Amateur hour. Amateur hour. Sorry, guys. Vote again. Sorry about that. Yeah, since I've got someone who understands what I'm talking about. Well, actually, there's a couple other programmers. Fractured Encoding's here. Anyone else might appreciate this. So basically, the way I handle To Be or Not to Bot, it's sort of hacky. It's pretty hacky the way I did it. Originally, To Be or Not to Bot could only listen. It could only hear what you guys said to it. It couldn't say anything. And the way I did that is I didn't have time. I didn't want to figure out Twitch's API. So what I did is I just took the log from Chatty. Chatty is a third-party chat application, and it does a great log. And so I would just query the log, and I would take the latest, any lines I hadn't read yet, and FileMaker would process them. And I'm actually still doing that because I've had it works perfectly. I've had no reason to change it yet. Eventually I will. Then I wanted To Be or Not to Bot to be able to talk to you guys. So I wrote a little PHP. I learned the API for Twitch, and I have a PHP bot that's running, program that's running, and what it does is it runs a server script on FileMaker every second to see if FileMaker has a new message to send. To be or not about is something new it needs to say. And if it does, then FileMaker gives it to the PHP app. PHP talks to Twitch. But I could not figure out a way to do it inside of FileMaker directly. I had to do this sort of hacky things. That's where the limitations of FileMaker are. There's a lot of limitations, but it works pretty well. Works pretty well. Let's see. Where are we at? Ending voting. Dark Bass Drive it is. We start with Dark Bass Drive as requested by our friend Elite. The legend. Elite the legend. Okay, let's see. What are we doing? Second song of the day. I'm slowly feeling better and better, I think. Okay, here we go. So as always, be thinking about titles. Give me some more venue suggestions. Looks like we got a few already. Tour suggestions for February. I do not have many tour suggestions yet. And the tour's name goes for the whole month. Whole month. Okay, here we go. Time to etceterate. Yeah, that felt pretty good. That felt pretty good. Thanks for those loops from Fraction, Encoding, and Quintus. That was a groovy. I had a lot of fun doubling up the steel drums and the banjo. Every time I did a part on one, I have them both playing it. I thought that was a really nice to mix those two instruments together. It's not common. I don't think there's much music. I think it might be safe to guess that in the entire history of the universe, there has only been maybe one or two, if any, songs that have had steel drums and banjo playing in unison. This might be the first time in the history of the universe, actually. Oh, thanks, Jonas. Let's see, it's driven by what you guys give me, what you guys choose to start, all that stuff. But hey, it was a nice set of sounds. Easy to come up with something. You guys probably saw me. I was like sort of singing a little bit before I picked up the mic. That was just to make sure I could still sing. I was like, can I sing? Because, and I do this sometimes, because often in shows, I don't have time to warm up beforehand at all. Definitely not on the horns. So the first note you guys hear me sing or play is the first note often that I've played that day. Because right now I don't have all my practice time is trying to get better at keyboards. And I just don't have enough time to do all the practicing I would want to do. If it was up to me, I would be practicing 10 hours a day. But it's just not, there's too much work on the channel I've got to do. But it's funny because back when I was, a serious musician, back in the day when I was playing with other bands and playing show stuff, I felt like I can't do a show unless I have an hour and a half to warm up, or an hour to warm up. I got to, or even like at least 20 minutes. I'd have to warm up and do all these exercises. And that's the right way to do it. But sometimes you just can't do it that way. You just got to just do it on the fly and just hope. It can be scary sometimes, just physically. I mean, I'm used to sort of jumping out of airplanes without parachutes, so to speak. But it doesn't always feel good on the old body. Yeah, because I really didn't know if I could sing the way I'm feeling. But it worked out okay, I thought. Okay, let's see what titles you guys. A lot of titles. 53 titles, it says. Nice. And George Takei says there could have been banjos and steel drums in previous civilizations. You don't know. That is true. I don't know for sure, but I think it is pretty likely that it has not happened very many times. I mean, the thing is, both those instruments, you generally hear only in a few genres of music, right? Guitar, you hear in pretty much almost every Western genre of music. Classical music has guitar, right? But you take two instruments that are that specific. Another set I think is unlikely is, sitar and steel drums. That's probably unlikely. That probably hasn't happened too many times. Okay, let me bring over some titles for you guys. As always, wait until you guys, until Tabir Natabat advises you. I'm not the one you think I am from Nathan Roth. Orbit Around the Sun from Crazy 8. Some way I don't think you're telling the truth, Dom. Dom writes there's a whole YouTube channel featuring a duo of banjo and steel drums. Oh no, he winked to it. Well, so shows what I know. I guess I'm all wrong. I got to check this for myself. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Oh my gosh. It's true. It's not a whole channel. I think it's one song. Here's what happened, guys. Let me tell you guys what happened. This is what happened, okay? Because I bust for about it was like 5 or 6 months, I think, in Boston. So the video that Dom linked to shows a banjo guy and a steel drum player playing outside. Here's my bet is what happened. Is they both wanted to play in that spot and they arrived right at the right same time, and that's the best place to play where you make the most money. And they could not agree who was going to get the spot, so they decided, screw it, we'll just play together. That's how that happened. But that's pretty funny that Dom fell it. Right after I go off on how it's so unlikely, 2 seconds later, Dom has found that sure enough, it exists. But I said it might have happened 1 or 2 times, right? And I think that was one of the times. Northern Boreal confirms. Guitar and steel drums. Okay, where do we want titles? From Elite, defeating the darkness in our hearts. And let's see, 2 more. You guys are so funny, some of these. The String of Life from Unknown. And In the Trees from korbinkittycat. Okay, those are your options. I've brought up the screen now. You guys can all yell at me now. The screen isn't up. The screen isn't up. I know it's not up. It will be up shortly. Whoops, I did not mean to do that. Okay. Did not play flute. That's an error. We got some new follows from korbinkittycat, who just gave us our title, In the Trees, and Ironstein001. Thanks for the follows. Thanks for supporting live music on Twitch. I think I've told this story before on stream, I believe, so some of you might have heard it. But since we're talking about busking, while we're waiting for voting, so there was a spot in Boston that was on the subway system, this one station was where you made the most money. It's the best place to play. One station in Boston. So everyone wanted to play there. And so over the years, the subway musicians had come up with a system for how to determine who got to play. And it was called the flip. And you had to show up at 7 a.m. for the flip. And whoever showed up, you'd flip coins to decide, and there'd be 3 winners. Well, the first person who won the flip got to choose one of 3 slots. And the slots were 5 hours long, 7 to 12, 12 to 5, and 5 to 10. So they chose the first slot. Then the second person who won the flip gets to choose the second slot. And then third, obviously, has to take third slot. And you have to stay there for your whole slot if you're the first or second person, because the way the rule works is that if there's nobody there, it's first come, first serve. So you could, if you win the flip and are the first person to decide to leave early, you've totally screwed the second and third person, because some other sub musician can just show up. So it was very political. You had to follow through. I only liked playing in the morning because I want to have the rest of the day do other stuff. So I always went hoping to either negotiate or win the flip. And I would bring all my gear, and I had to, it was in a shopping cart, and I lived about a mile from the nearest subway station. And so, and I'd often, getting somewhere by 7 a.m. is not easy. And so if you were in the Boston area back in the day, this is probably like 15 years ago, you would see me some mornings racing along Somerville Avenue, running, pushing a shopping cart filled with equipment as fast as I could in order to get to the flip in time by 7 a.m. So it'd be like I was probably running around 6:20 in the morning, 6:30, pushing a shopping cart. So anyway, that's my busking story. So I did that about 5 or 6 months, I think. Maybe it was shorter. Maybe it was 3 or 4 months. Let's see. I'm ending voting. In the Trees. Nice. Oh, this is your first one. Congratulations, korbinkittycat. So that track will be first forever remembered as In the Trees. I should probably have keep a record of when I tell certain stories so I can check. Oh, I told that one 3 weeks ago. It's too soon to tell it again. I should wait. Wouldn't that be nice? I'm sure you guys all have someone in your life who tells the same old story over and over again. Wouldn't it be nice if they just had a little database in their brain where they could say, oh yeah, I told this story a week ago to all of these people. They do not need to hear it again. Some little, scripted process that senses you're about to tell a story and immediately says, no, you already told that. That would be very convenient. Okay, I'm creating a new empty track for us to fill. Meanwhile, let us see. How are you doing, camera 3? It didn't work. Why didn't that work? That was awkward. Oh, I know why it didn't work. I know. I got to be careful about that. It's because the program that manages that command was currently reloading. Let's try this again. How you doing, camera 3? I can't see the monitor when I do that, but I have a feeling that is incredibly awkward. That is me at my most cringy when I turn to camera 3, because I'm probably not looking quite straight at it. It's at a weird angle. It's sort of hard to turn my head like that because I've got these inner monitors. The cable hangs down, and it sort of makes it sticks me in place. Okay, time to bring in these requests. Let's see. Let's see what we have here. I think we're gonna keep things generally sub 100 beats a minute today. Maybe I'll stretch out, but I think I need to keep it for my own health a little more mellow. Let's see. Okay, we have G minor from George Decay, 82 beats a minute from Northern Boreal. We have drum loops from Cool Blue Reason and Clisco. Hey, Cool Blue Reason and Clisco. We have full set of sounds and kits and drum fills, and looks like we have a first time request from korbinkittycat is going to be a drum fill. So Corbin, with drum fills, there's a lot of them in each song, so I'm not able to look at them beforehand. But if you watch the lower left part of the screen, just before I trigger your drum fill, you'll see your credit, so you can listen for it. Okay, let's start loading these up. While I get the mixer back to 0. I saw some viral video or something. I think I might be misremembering this, but it was like this world famous violin player did some busking in New York City or something in the subway, and 99% of people just walked right by him. Like no recognition of the fact that this guy was like just world class, you know? But you definitely there's some amazing buskers. But yeah, I think that experience prepped me for a lot of aspects of Twitch. Doing longer shows like that. Sort of feeling like you've got a new audience every, 10 minutes. Which, especially when I was starting out the show, it was like that, because I had no viewers and most people came in, if I was lucky, they'd stay for 10 minutes. Okay, filling up our slots. Northern Boreal writes, they're desensitized to talent like that and they're rushed to work, thinking about the next thing and right now. That reminds me, Northern Boreal, like for me, the biggest compliment I could get on the subway was somebody missing their train in order to hear another song. It was great to get a tip, right? But, and maybe it's because I value time more than I value money. But yeah, when someone missed the train, that was a good feeling. And the funny thing is, you see this, right? You're playing a subway platform. I know that the train comes every 10 minutes. 10 minutes, right? And inevitably, a train would show up and then it would leave. You'd have like 5 people who just miss getting to the train and the doors close, or more. And it ruins their day. They're so angry. And I'm sure for maybe 1 out of 100 of those people who missed the train, it means they've missed their flight or something. But for most people, that 10 minutes really isn't that big of a deal. But it puts them in this bad mood that affects them the rest of the day. And I just want to be like, dude, the train is coming again in a few minutes. But then I know I've been that same person who I just missed a train, and it just seems like the end of the world sometimes, you know? You're like, oh, now I gotta wait? Okay, we got 70s Skip from Sniper Bob 76. Sniper Bob 76 is back. That's a good point, Northern Boreal. You're gonna make me nervous. Northern Boreal wrote that difference between Twitch and on street is on Twitch people hear everything. That's also the difference between Twitch and, say, a venue. Because when you see a band in a big venue where the music is super loud, our ears are not designed to hear sound that loud. Our ears just turn into mush. So I did a lot of concert filming and stuff, and I've probably played 1,000 shows in my life by this point. I can't tell you how many times either I was playing live or I heard someone play live, something that was recorded, and it was amazing, and then you hear the recording and you're like, huh. But what's cool is that if video is connected to that recording, it works better. I think there's something about seeing someone doing something live, like seeing it. I don't know, it's more forgiving or something. Let's see. We got Cool Blue Reasons B. Let's check it out raw from the generator. Let's see. We're going to drop these hats. Let's add a kick here. Let's drop this kick a bit. That is snare there. These snares we're going to drop a bunch. Let's add a big snare there. That looks good. I think I want one hat there. Okay, here we go. Here's Cool Blue Reasons beat. Yeah, the thing, one of the things that stopped me from busking, I guess I'm in a talkative mood. I hope that's okay, guys. Has my camera stopped? That looks a little odd. No, I know. One of the things that stopped me from busking is I started to feel uncomfortable by the fact that, well, I was fortunate to have I think the biggest reason is I found another opportunity that was a lot more lucrative for a lot less time, and I felt like I was using up too much of my musical energy from the busking. And the busking wasn't really my main thing. It was just to support my other music. But one of the things was also that I just felt weird about the fact that people didn't have a choice whether or not to listen to me, right? Like, I'm there, and they can't escape. They have to be there to get on the train. And that just, after a while, I started feeling weird about that. And that's what I like about Twitch, in a way. It's sort of what maybe Northern Boreal is getting at, is that if someone starts watching my show, it's not my fault. You know? So, like, I'm not inflicting this on anybody. Everyone has that choice. And that feels a lot better. It's nice to have an audience that is there because they want to be there, not because they have to be there. Okay, let's check out Quisco's beat. Wow, that's pretty sweet. pretty sweet right there. I like all those kick drums. I don't know if I want to change that at all. I think I want to vary the kicks just a little bit. Just want to drop these a bit. No, I don't even want to do. I think I want to leave it. Exactly. That's pretty cool. So what I did when I was a busker, it was sort of like glorified jazz karaoke. Glorified jazz karaoke is what it was. I had backing tracks of a jazz rhythm section, so piano, bass, and drums. And I'd have a bunch of instruments, and I did a lot of stuff with jazz songs with lyrics. So I'd sing the melody, and then I'd take solos on like 2 or 3 instruments. Like I'd play a trombone solo, then a flute solo, and maybe do a scat solo, and sing the melody again. So that's what I did on the subways. And I would have. If Twitch ever figures out the cover song issue, and there's a way to do it where I don't have to worry about getting sued, I would have another channel, and I would have a jazz group. It's like 6 jazz musicians, and I would just probably sing and play trombone with them, and we do requests. That would be, I would have fun, a real fun doing that, but just the legal issues are not worth the headache for me right now. Okay, let's see. But I should say, don't let me scare you from doing covers on Twitch if any of you guys are streamers. The odds of something happening are so small. You're going to be fine almost certainly. But if anyone tells you that it is legal, it is not. It just isn't. And granted, there are a lot of so that's the thing. It's just you're almost no way you will have any problems, but it is not legal. And the thought of getting sued for something I've done creatively is just the worst thought. It would just, I don't know, it would destroy me emotionally. Just to turn something I love into a legal thing. Ugh. So I just don't even want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with the risk. Even if the risk is 1 in a million, it's not worth it to me. Let's check out our sounds. We got Antarctic Sun from Casilton. Like I said, Northern Boreal, your chance of being risk, it's so low, guys. So I don't want to scare you guys. It's extremely low. I think there's a good chance it will never be an issue. But my concern is that somebody on Twitch is going to start making a lot of money playing covers. And if somebody's making $100,000 a year, $200,000 a year on Twitch playing covers, and they're not paying royalties, the publishing companies are going to take notice, and they're going to sue. They're going to sue Twitch, and they're going to sue the streamer, and it's going to hurt everybody. So my hope, and why I keep talking about this on the show, is because I think there's a solution that will work for everybody, where there's a way for royalties to be paid that are reasonable, that everyone can afford. Because I'm going to start recording covers for you guys. That's something I want to start in the next month. And it's very easy to do that legally. And it's a reasonable amount of money that's practical. For example, if I want to record a cover that you guys can listen to audio-wise on stream, I pay a penny each play. I wish it were less, but that's something I can afford, and it's easy to do. There's a company called Harry Fox that manages it. So I think there needs to be something like that, and they should have a cutoff where you don't even have to worry about it unless you have a certain number of viewers or something. But again, for most of you, don't need to worry. I mean, there are obviously a ton of streamers who are playing covers, and they're fine. Nothing has happened, and the odds of something happening are very low. But I just get real sensitive about legal stuff. Just the thought of being in a lawsuit over creative stuff is just, for me, it doesn't matter if I win the lawsuit. It doesn't matter. I just don't want to deal with it. Chinese Ron Moon guitar from Nathan Roth. That's pretty cool sound. We got Buzzy Picking from Word Salad. But I think, Twitch is, the publishers are not going to go after small streamers. What they're going to do, if they do anything at all, and they probably won't, is they'll just do DCMA takedowns, and they'll sue Twitch. But if somebody starts making bank, a streamer, they are going to sue the streamer. But by bank, I'm thinking somebody who's making over $100,000 a year. I think if it's just not worth their time unless it's a certain amount of money. Sample and hold movement from Nifty Guy. But I hope that, and I probably talk about this too much. I probably talked about it on like 15 different shows. But I guess I'm passionate about it because I know how hard it is for musicians to make a living. Musicians that musicians that you think are famous are not making much at all. They're middle class at best. People who are playing for 1,000 people shows go home, they're probably making less than $50,000 a year. And the thing is that Twitch is the only new thing that's happened in like the last 20 years that I think could be a viable way for a lot of musicians to make a living, and the cover thing is a big issue because there are a lot of great artists that they've maybe recorded 1 record or 2 records. So they only have like 10 to 20 songs. And their show is going to get real old if they're playing their same songs over and over again. But if they can play requests, if they can do some covers and you get to hear your favorite singer or something do these other songs, you can interact directly. I'm just trying to think of an example. Just basically, I think the kinds of performers and bands that play for like 1,000 people a show, if they streamed on Twitch, let's say they did a stream once a week, they could probably have 50 to 75,000 people watching them every show. They'd be bigger than anything else on Twitch, just like that. Imagine if a band like Radiohead streamed once a week on Twitch. They would have millions watching every single show. But even a band like Radiohead might have trouble legally playing their own music because of the weird idiosyncrasies of copyright law. That's the big thing, is a lot of people couldn't even play their own songs because they don't own the publishing in full. Someone else also owns the publishing. It's just crazy. Crazy. Okay, I got to stop talking about this. Maybe I'll do a show. We'll just do a talk show format. We'll just talk about this for like 3 hours, and anyone who wants to talk about it can hang out, and everyone else can skedaddle. But I should say again, I think for 99% of the people who are playing covers on Twitch, you are totally safe. Nothing will ever happen to you. You don't have to worry about it. But the fact remains that it is technically not legal. And if something is not legal, you are open to potential lawsuits. Okay, let's see. You guys choose the sound. I mean, Northern Boreal, again, I mean, I don't think you should worry about it. But, but it is, I'm telling you guys reality too. It is technically, but obviously I'd say the vast majority of Twitch music shows are doing covers. So obviously plenty of people are doing it, and most people will be totally fine. If not everyone, it may never, I'm hoping it'll never be an issue. I give you guys a little more time. But yeah, I have to be careful talking about this because I feel like I've noticed that people come away with it with different interpretations. Some people think that I'm saying that it's not, that you shouldn't play covers, or that it's not cool to play covers. That's not what I'm saying. Some people think that I think that there should be no copyright. That's not what I'm saying either. Some people think that I'm think there should be more copyright rules or whatever. And the bottom line for me is that I think there's a way that we can have copyright protection that protects the people who have created something that's original, but also encourages further innovation and allows smaller artists to innovate and build on what's already been built. There is a system that could work for everyone, but right now that doesn't exist. Let's see. Unknown says it's risky for covers. It is extremely low risk. Like, you probably are more likely of having a piano drop on your head walking down the street than a publishing company suing you. But for my own idiosyncratic reasons, I don't like that risk, even as low as it is. Okay, I'm ending voting. Quisco's drum loop is what we're starting with. Nice. I know I need to stop with the copyright stuff, but this is something, again, I feel strong about. Dom writes, play public domain. There are thousands of, I'm not what C. Hansen's, but public domain, what that is for you people who don't know, is that eventually a creative work that was copyrighted goes into the public domain, which means anyone can do whatever they want with it. So that's why we have tons of movies based on Shakespeare. There's so many creative things that have done with Shakespeare and older works. And the rule, it keeps changing when things, it's after a certain amount of time. So basically anything that was created before 1923, it's a little more complicated than this, but for the most part, anything that was created before that is public domain, which means we can do it, anything we want, copyright free. And the rule was that at a certain point, things in 1924 would go into the public domain, then 1925 and 1926. But there is a big effort in the United States to keep it so that things never, ever go back into the public domain, so that something can be copyrighted forever. And that I am totally opposed to. I think it is one of the worst. Well, I'm not going to talk about it. Get me too angry. Everything must go into the public domain eventually, is what I believe. Eventually, everything belongs to everybody. Because as an artist, we don't create things in a void. We're inspired by people we've listened to or read, or we are able to do what we do because there is a world that is there to appreciate it. And so the idea that, to me, it is extraordinary egotism for an artist, or it's really not artists, it's corporations that own the rights, because the artist dies eventually, right? The creator dies. This corporation wants to own it forever. They think they should be able to profit on it forever. That's what is wrong. Okay, here we go. Let's do some music. Enough talking. Quisco's drum loop. Here we go. Time to etceterate. I stretched that out. I hope you guys are still watching. Hope you didn't get bored. How long did that go? It was 15 minutes. Sorry, guys. I don't know. I'm just feeling it. But man, those both those beats were just sick beats from Cool Blue Reason and Quisco. The one I ended up using the longest, although they were both awesome, was the Quisco beat. And those kick drums just was murdering me. The kick drums of Quisco's beat, all those rapid kick drums, it just had this throb, this just momentum that was just, I was saying, man, that those kick drums were murdering me, just murdering me. Unbelievable. Thanks, Northern Boreal. Yeah, and Sniper Pops 96 with that tight drum kit. Yeah, the kit needed to be tight. It needed to have like a real clean, crisp sound. It couldn't have too much reverb. It needed to feel every hit. Yeah, it was good. Well, I'm glad I did today's show. I didn't know if I'd be able to do anything worth streaming today because I was feeling so sick earlier. Well, that was really fun. Really fun. You know, and I like to note every once in a while I try to remember to note when something quote goes wrong, but ends up being really cool. So one of the issues that I have with the looping that is often an issue, and this is an issue with anyone who does MIDI stuff, is that the way MIDI works is you tell the computer that a note has started, and then that note continues until the computer gets a message that the note has stopped. And the problem is if sometimes something happens and the computer doesn't ever get the message that the note stopped. And so what happened was that the mega fat super sound, I can't remember who requested that sound, I played it on the second loop. So we started sort of G minor-ish as requested. In the second loop, I sort of went to a C Aeolian kind of minor a bit. And I laid down with the mega fat super sound, this just C, holding the C. So I then went back to the first loop that was in G, but that C kept playing because for some reason the computer didn't get the message to stop it. And I have a way, it's literally called MIDI panic. You run a MIDI panic command and it shuts off every note. And I would just do it on a certain sound. I wouldn't do it on every sound. So I could have done a MIDI panic. But what happened when you have a C over G, you get a suspension feel. And I was digging that. So there's often things like that happen that are totally out of my control, but end up being so much cooler than what I would have thought to do. Anyway, so that was a Jameson one, wasn't it? Definitely Jameson. So we got to name it. You guys gave me 65 titles, it looks like. So as always, await the vote. Doc Bizzle asked, did you capture or was it only live? I do. I record all the shows at a much higher quality level than Twitch. So like, to give you guys an example, like the signal I'm sending to Twitch, a 3-hour show is about 3 gigabytes. I'm recording it where a 3-hour show is like 45 gigabytes. So at a much, much, much higher bit rate. So yes, it was recorded. Unless it crashed, I don't know. Every once in a while it doesn't record. There have been 3 shows, I think, where the high quality one unfortunately did not record properly. But hopefully this one recorded properly. Okay, let's see. Let's see, we have just looking at all these creative title options you guys gave me. Suspended Over Waves from Escape Pods. Serenading the Horned Beast from C. Millie Mills. Inside Venus from Guillermo 4. Zbeck says, how on earth have you been storing these videos for this long? Yeah, I've been reconsidering the quality level I've been recording them at, because I already have the first 2.5 months of shows took up 3 terabytes. And I am a conservative person, so I do double backups. So I'm going to go bankrupt just on hard drives. I might have to lower the quality level, but it's hard for me to record at a lower quality level than I'm getting from the cameras. That's just sort of hurts, you know? But I might have to. Just getting 2 more titles. Almost ready. Let's see. Sorry, it's hard. You guys gave me so many good ones. The Lotus Flows Once a Year from Nathan Roth. And one more. Running That Fire Sun from Sniper Bob 76. Those are your options. Suspended Over Waves, Serenading the Horned Beast, Inside Venus, The Lotus Flows Once a Year, Running That Fire Sun. Oh yeah, Seabuck, I'll have to heavily compress them again, but so they will not be. I've looked up pricing for. I mean, theoretically, I could upload those videos to at that size to like Amazon or S3 or Vimeo or something. But yeah, the pricing to store that would be insane. So my only option is YouTube, really. But the downside of YouTube is they have those pesky advertisements. You can't get away from them. What did I do? I did some flute and some voice. Wait, did I do baritone? I did a little baritone, I think. Didn't I? I don't remember. Baritone, did I? Yeah, I did. I did baritone. Oh, I know that some users can get away from the ads, but yeah, because that's one of the reasons I'm still trying to figure out how I'm gonna do it on the website, because I feel bad people coming to the website to watch the shows, especially if they're, say, a subscriber or something, and they have to watch YouTube ads. I might have to do it two ways. One that's via YouTube and one that's lower quality but ad free, because I looked into the pricing and it's pretty insanely expensive to do it at the full quality. It's not practical. I just got a lovely, kind donation from Northern Boreal. Thank you so much. That's awesome. And Northern Boreal, you said you're in Canada, right? So who knows? Everything might be totally different in Canada. I'm just talking about what I know about U.S. laws. I don't know about outside the U.S. So what I say might be totally moot outside the U.S. But Seebeck, how you doing, Seebeck? It's good to see you, Seebeck. How's the music going? But yes, thank you to Northern Boreal. Thank you very much. So we got some new follows: JRoot0 and Sidechain Recording and Wang Husken. Thank you for those follows, guys. Thanks for supporting live music on Twitch. Well, is JCan stuff? This show will be on my videos tab, just above my head. So you can rewatch the show tonight, or maybe it's already there. I don't know if. I actually don't know the answer to that, if they have the videos immediately available or if it's not till after the show ends. Okay, I'm ending voting. Running That Fire Sun from Sniper Bob. Nice. That song we forever remembered as Running That Fire Sun. But thanks to everyone for your suggestions. You guys gave me a ton of good ideas. Ninja Fleas, do you know though if Amazon has limits in terms of I think it's called pull requests? Because Amazon has something called S3, which I use to host different things. And that's more for like professional level stuff, and it's definitely not going to be $60 a year if you're storing terabytes and terabytes of data that people are requesting. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be a 50 gigabyte show. Most people won't be able to stream that. So, so I think it'd be more. I'd like to get something that's more like, like 10 was it 10 megabits to 20 megabits or something, as opposed to what I'm uploading to Twitch is like 2.5. More for personal backup. But if Skullblanche, if it is unlimited, that would be helpful for me, because right now I'm putting it on 2 hard drives, and hard drives get pretty expensive if I need 2 3 terabyte hard drives every 3 months. That's, times 4, that's 8 terabyte drives, 3 terabyte drives a year. It'd be nice if I could cut that in half and have one of them online. It is unlimited. Well, that's definitely worth it for $60. It's a good. I don't want to sound like an advertisement. Oh no. That was risky there. No, I am not sponsored by Amazon. I'm not sponsored by anybody. Oh, and that was Sniper. Was that Sniper Bob's first? I think that was Sniper Bob's 76 first title. Congratulations. I don't think I'm going to be able to do better than what I just did. I feel like that was probably the highlight of the night, but I'll do one more for you guys because I am feeling better. You guys, I was feeling so sick before the show, and you guys have made me feel a lot better. I also do not endorse FileMaker, for the record. I do not endorse anything that I use. That's why some of you guys notice that I tape over the logos on everything. Because I don't like them being shown while I'm playing. I mean, my philosophy about gear and software and all that is that you find what works for you, and often you use just what barely works at all. It's just your best option. But we're all different. We all have different needs. In my perfect universe, I would write all the software I use. I would build all the gear I use, and it would be custom exactly to my needs. So I think gear is always a compromise. Software is always a compromise. And so the idea of saying, this is the right thing, this is what you should use, to me is crazy, because you are not me, and your needs are very different than mine. And there are so many different ways to accomplish the same end goal. I think there's this fallacy that's taught to musicians, especially young musicians, beginning musicians, of thinking that, oh, if I only had what my favorite guitar player had, if I only had that same guitar and same setup, I would be good. That's not how it works. I've said this before. Like, if Jimi Hendrix were alive and we gave him a broken guitar from like Walmart that had only 2 strings on it, that was impossible to keep in tune, he would still murder that instrument. He would murder it. So gear is never the way to create good music or art. It is just a tool, and there are many different tools you can use. So yeah, I do not endorse anything, but I'm okay talking about what I use every once in a while, since I know people are interested by it. But just keep in mind, but it might not be the right thing for you. It probably isn't. There's probably a better solution for you than what I use. Okay. Northern Borealis says, is there any resources in particular you suggest someone trying to get better at recording their music? I'm a believer that the best way to improve is just to dive in and do it. And meanwhile, maybe do some research and learn. But I think that's another thing. I think a lot of people feel like you've got to get to a certain level and before you start doing what you want to do. I don't believe that. I believe you start immediately. So, I'd never played a melodica until a month ago. I got it in the mail, and I played it for 10 minutes before I started the show. And then I played it on the show. Now, obviously, it's similar to keyboard. It's not that big of a leap, but yeah, I'm a believer. You dive in immediately, and I think, at least for me, I learn the fastest when I'm learning as part of doing something that has its own life. It's not just learning to learn, but it's actually learning to create something. So that'd be my main advice, is to just dive into whatever it is you want to learn and start right away doing something, not just learning it, but doing it. I think most folks will learn a lot faster if you're not learning for abstract reasons, but for concrete reasons. So I guess I didn't really answer your question. And I don't know if I have a good answer for your specific question of resources. I'm sure some folks in chat, there's a bunch of people who do recording in chat that might have some better suggestions in terms of point you in a specific direction. But I think in music, your best resource is your ear. It is using your ear, and because folks will tell you there are all these rules, that this is how you're supposed to record something. This is the right way of doing it. That this is if you're going to produce this kind of music, you have to do it this way. If you're going to play this kind of genre, you have to have this kind of guitar or this kind of amp or this kind of tone. But I can tell you, the people who innovate in music are the people who do not listen to that, and they break the rules. They do what you're not supposed to do. That's how a new genre is created. Is someone does something that no one has done before. So that's where your ear comes in, right? Have your ear guide you, not sort of external rules and all that. But that's not to say that learning, and there's a lot to be. I've done a lot of study in my life as well. But to me, the primary thing that I find the most powerful impulse is at getting better is my ear. And the ear can mean is everything just in life, right? Your eyes, your own senses, right? Okay, let's do one more. Well, so Northern Boreal, if you already started, that's great. Like you're going to learn a lot that way. But then if you're already doing, then there are definitely some great books on mixing. I can't remember off the top of my head. And there's some YouTube series with great engineers who do stuff. But I'm sorry, I can't give you specific things. I can only give you this my general spiel, which probably is not that useful. But if you're already recording yourselves, that's the first step. That's the most important thing, is just get started. Okay, let's see. We'll do one more. We've been doing good on these slower tempos. I think we're going to stick with that. For our last song of the night. You guys haven't given me too many options in that tempo range. Oh, we'll speed it up. Let's speed it up. Haas 208 is requested 108 beats a minute. We're going to do that. Okay, we have key of E flat from Chief Cheddar, 108 beats a minute from Haas 208, drum loops from Muffet Puffet and Sidechain Recording. Thanks, Beautiful Chaos. Yeah, it was you guys' good vibes that got me feeling better. Maybe that and me getting worked up about copyright sort of put some fire in me or something. No, but it was you guys. I think after the show, though, I'm going to go get some serious rest, though. I think I need it. I think this is probably adrenaline. It's adrenaline that is powering me right now. I did a show once where before the show I hurt my back and I could barely walk. And I did the show and I was fine during the show. And with this particular band, I ran around a lot, let's say that, and jumped off things, stuff like that, you know? And I was totally fine during the show. As soon as the show ended, I couldn't walk again. It was even worse. Okay, let's see. We've got everything we need. Just give me some more venues, guys. I don't have many venues yet, it looks like, or tour names. We need those for tomorrow and for February. Okay, loading up our sounds. Yeah, it's pretty extraordinary what our bodies can do when we sort of have no other choice. You know, you guys have probably heard those stories of like some petite soccer mom lifting a vehicle off of her child or something, you know, that is like, or people in, you know, life-threatening situations doing extraordinary things. I think the reason our bodies can't always do that is because it's really damaging, right? It's not good to have hurt your back and then do a show. But the body we have that thing, adrenaline, but if we're having adrenaline 100% of the time, I think we're in trouble. I think that would be I think our life expectancy, if we had adrenaline coursing through our serious adrenaline at all moments, we'd probably live like 15 years. Okay, bringing in our drum fills. Bringing in our drum loops. Muffet Puffet and sidechain recording. I think these are your first loops, right? And we got the Gritty Funk kit. No, we don't. Where is it? Uh-oh. Hold on, guys. Something happened. Let me just check my program. Ah, there it is. Okay. Here it is. Muffet Puffet's beat raw from the generator. Okay, here it is. That's pretty sweet. We are going to just do a little volume work on our hi-hats. We're going to drop these snares just a bit, but I'm digging that snare pattern. We're going to add a kick on 1 so we know where 1 is. And let's add a kick there. Here it is, Muffet Puffet's beat. And I'm going to do something I don't do very often. I'm going to make this twice as long, this beat. Whoops. And I'm just going to do this one thing. I'm going to have an open hi-hat right there. I just need that open hi-hat there. Now we got sidechain recorder. This is only 16 slots, so I can't use the NG. I apologize. Here it is, raw from the generator. That's pretty sweet too. We're going to do our volume work that I like to do. And these two snares we're going to drop a bit, and this snare. And let's have snared on 2 and 4 on this one, and a kick right there. That'll be it. Oh, no, I want a hat there. There we go. Here it is, sidechain recorder. Nice. Oh, these are sweet beats there. Thank you, Muffet Puffet and Sidechain Recording. For any of you in chat who are into doing audio recording or producing and have not heard the term sidechain recording, look it up. There's some pretty sweet stuff you can do with sidechains. I'm not really set up to do it on this show, but let's see. Okay, let's check out the sounds. How'd this happen? Dark Bass Drive got in. It's only supposed to get in once, but we got it in twice. George Takei snuck it in. We got classic acid bass from Nathan Roth. Oh, yeah. That's a good sound for this beat. Nathan asks, is the studio part of your house apartment? No, it is not. I live about a half mile from here with a bunch of awesome roommates. And this is in a brick warehouse style building. It's all commercial businesses in here. Maybe there's someone who lives here illegally, but it's all businesses, I think. Tubular bells from Coolable Reason. In the long run, I'll probably have to get a space that I can live and work in, because it's not really feasible long term to do this with two spaces. Title space from Sniper Bob 76. But as much as my roommates love me, I do not think they would have been very happy with me streaming. Well, especially when I started, I was doing like 4.5 hour shows 5 days a week, 5 hour shows, 5.5 hour shows. So I knew I'd need another space. Distorted Rhythm from Hat Machine. Nice, that's a cool one. That's a rhythmic sound though, so for those of you who are not familiar with the show, rhythmic sounds like that have a rhythm as part of the sound, we cannot start with that sound. But I will use it in the song, but we won't be able to vote on it. It's complicated technical reasons. Razor Bass from a Quintus. Whoa. And that is also a rhythmic sound. It's not just delay. So I think we're gonna have to choose between the first 4 sounds. Hope that's okay. But I will use both sounds. Don't worry, Hat Machine and a Quintus. They will be in the song, and they may be incredibly prominent if I can get them to work. Otherwise, I might have to finesse it a bit. So there are your options. One of those sounds or one of those loops. We could do Dark Bass Drive, Classic Acid Bass, Tubular Bells, Title Space, yeah, thanks for backing me up there, Escape Pods. Advising everyone that in the Bay Area, living with roommates is the way it works. Although I actually, right now it's financially it certainly helps me, but there have been times when financially I have not needed to live with roommates, and I've chosen to anyway. I really like living with roommates, actually. I would be very lonely living by my lonesome. Escape Pods, I'm amazed you could even find a house for $1.8 million in the hate. Yeah, I have 4 roommates. I have lived with at least two other people my entire life. I've lived with at least 3 other people, probably all but maybe 4 years of my life, and I've lived with over 4 people for every year, but maybe 8 years of my life. And since college, I've pretty much, my college years has been at least 5 people almost every almost 4 or 5, I think. Yeah. Oh, Muffet Puffet, and we have another set of roommates. I don't know if you're roommates or couple, but that's awesome. Muffet Puffet and Beautiful Chaos. Okay, I'm ending voting. Let's see you guys chose. Muffet Puffet's drum loop. Nice. To be or not to bot, you are just a barrel of laughs today. Sisters. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. I think you guys are the first set of sisters that have acknowledged themselves in chat. I don't know if maybe we have some other sisters, but and sisters that stand each other. That's even better. It's even better. I have 3 brothers, no sisters. So maybe you guys can be my adopted sisters. Okay, we're starting with Muffet Puffet's drum loop. One of our sisters in chat. Oh, thanks, Beautiful Chaos. Beelzebub married his or her roommate. That's awesome. Let's see. Okay. Last track of the night. I think this is my last one. I seriously, guys, 15 minutes before the show, I was considering canceling it. I could not stand up. I was curled up in a fetal position on the floor. I hadn't finished my the show test prep. I was over on the floor. Jiffy was trying to nurse me back to health. I thought, I can't do this. But I stood up and felt a little better. I said, well, I'll just do one song so that these, because these guys are going to show up at 8 o'clock Eastern and I'm not going to be here. So I'll show up. I'll do 1 or 2 songs. But here I am. I'm still here 3 hours later. So thank you guys. You guys have kept me here. Okay, here we go. Last song of the night. I hope you all will stick around to the end of the song because we are going to name it. I'm going to do my shout out. It's always fun, at least for me. I hope you guys enjoy it too. And then we'll do a raid. So stick around. Here we go. Another extended one. Hope that's okay. I'm doing long tracks tonight. I don't know what's up with that. I was just feeling it. Those drum loops from Muffet Puppet and Sidechain Recording were sick. Sick. It's funny, before I started the song, I was a little uncertain what I was going to come up with because, I just had these pads. I had funky beats, I had pads, and I had some bass sounds. I didn't have much in the way of sort of middle range stuff that could be like funky wicks or anything, so I didn't quite know how it would work out, but it all came together. That was fun. Thanks everyone for your requests that made that improv what it was. Let's name it. 104 titles. Nice. Nice. Okay, let's see. Let's see. As always, wait to vote until to be or not to bot. Thanks, Muffet Puffet. Thanks, ISJ Can Stuff and John the Artist. Thanks, everybody. Glad you guys enjoyed. Yeah, and we use the dark bass drive as the melody. That was the melodic line at the end. That the but and what was it? What was it? Something like that. I don't even remember what I did. Anyway, that was dark bass drive, weed sound. We got Synthetic Symphony from Sidechain Recording. Wow, this is quite a title. From Muffet Puffet, Tethering Tundra of the Cosmos. There's double ofs. I'm assuming you mean there to be just one of. But if that's not the case, if you mean both ofs, let me know. Let's see. Bright Lights from Escape Pods. I haven't even got through half of them yet. I don't think I'm going to use it for this track, but Mars Red, that was very clever. Trom 1s and 0s. You'll have to use that one again. I don't think it's the one for this track, but I wanted you to know I saw it and I dig it. We got Dune Buggy Time Traveler from Lost Elf. Oh, and To Be or Not to Bot suggested a title too, but I'm not gonna do yours, To Be or Not to Bot. One more. Oh, so many good ones. And from SpookyFortress, Maelstrom Machinations. I believe I'm saying both those words correctly. Okay, those are the options. We got Synthetic Symphony, Tethering Tundra of the Cosmos, Bells of Neptune, Doom Buggy Time Traveler, and Maelstrom Machinations. What did I do on that? I did some voice and some trombone. That's right. Hey, it's Azzazelynn. Dom says, what was the bot's title? It's off my screen, but it's it had something about a fan. It was a cool title, but I can't give a human slot to a bot. Oh, and wow. We just received a stunning donation from Anonymous. Wow. Thank you, Anonymous. I really appreciate it. Really nice note as well. Thank you. Thank you for that. Wow. Thank you. So everyone in chat, give a shout out to Anonymous. The lovely Anonymous. Wow. Thank you, Anonymous. Okay, I'll give you guys a little more time. Right, the box fan and the window it resides in was the title. So if there's anyone who's new who's watching, this is your first time watching the show, or you haven't watched the show in a while, a feature I introduced in the last week is that you guys can help write what To Be or Not to Bot says. And if you type bot, you can have custom things that To Be or Not to Bot says to you personally when you first chat every day. And anytime To Be or Not to Bot says something, that is something that you could write pretty much. Well, I'm still adding some that but for the most part, there are a lot of things you guys can add to be or not to Bot's repertoire. We got a couple new follows from Tim Felon and Fork My Pork Roll 24. Thanks for the follows and thanks for supporting live music. Okay, I'm ending voting. Alhaz asks, how long have you been playing music? Did you start in college? Well, that's a little hard to answer. Let's see. Well, let me end voting first. No, I'll answer first. In case someone wants to vote more. I think I first started playing music as a little kid. My mom is a professional pianist teacher, and although I never came even a smidgen to her ability level, I did take some piano lessons a little bit when I was younger from her, and then I basically quit piano until high school. I don't consider myself a pianist at all. I happened to play keyboard on this stream because it was the thing that works the best for the way this is, but I don't consider myself a real keyboard player. I don't have the chops to say that. And then I started picking up different instruments in junior high. I think I started playing the baritone in elementary school, and I sort of slowly added different instruments in high school. So, yeah. And then I basically retired from music for about 5 years. Life happened, complicated things happened. And I stopped entirely. I didn't sing a note. I didn't play a note really for 5 years. And then until March of this year when I had the idea for this show and it inspired me to come back. So, and you guys are keeping me here. We're going to end voting. Let's see you guys chose. Maelstrom Machinations, SpookyFortress, one of our most prolific titlers, sneaks through with Maelstrom Machinations. So that track we forever remembered as Maelstrom Machinations. Oh, thanks, Word Salad. I think, yeah, thank you, Northern Boreal. I mean, that's the nice thing about music is once you start feeling comfortable sort of theoretically with what's going on, it's not that difficult to pick up an instrument and play something simple on it that works. Like, I'm not a virtuoso on any of the instruments I play by any stretch. I could have maybe been a virtuoso on trombone. That was the one I did the most on. And I would like to be much better than I am at my instruments, because sometimes it's very frustrating because I hear stuff in my head that I cannot technically do, and that happens on keyboard all the time. But yeah, but still, like, even though I have minimal chops and I'm totally out of practice still, I don't have time to practice much. I somehow am able to sometimes, every once in a while, find something that is worth saying, and I'm able to say it the way I want to say it. Sometimes. But that track was Maelstrom Machinations. You guys had a ton of good titles. Thank you. Thank you to everyone for all your titles. Let's look back at our show. We did 4 songs. Only 4 songs today, but 2 of them were epically long. We have Cowboy's Asteroid Belt, In the Trees, Running That Fire Sun, and Maelstrom Machinations. And this show, I was performing live from under a monster's bed. This is Under a Monster's Bed, one of the most clever venue suggestions yet, I think. One of the best. One of my favorites. But I think if that, I think everyone probably, like every musician feels like me, I'm sure, where you never feel like you're where you want to be, or you're not as good as you used to be, or if only you had more time to practice. And I think that everyone feels that. That's normal. And I think it's easy to let that stop you from doing anything. I mean, there are days it's hard. It is almost painful for me where I'm at on some of my instruments. It's just heartbreaking in a way for me. But I could just like decide not to play them and sit in my room and cry myself to sleep, But I decided that it's more important to, override those feelings and do something anyway. And so any of you in chat who I'm sure some of you or all of you feel like that sometimes, you feel like I'm not good enough. If only I had more time, if only I had better gear, if I only had X, Y, or Z, I would do this thing that I want to do. I hope that you'll override that instinct and do it anyway. Do it anyway. Okay, so let's see. On that note, I'm going to remind everyone that my schedule is Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time for 3 to 4 hours. And that's at least for the next week or two. I don't know if I'm going to do 5 shows a week forever. So enjoy it while it lasts. So I'm going to take the weekend off to hopefully recuperate from whatever I got sick with today. And but before I do that, we got a couple things to do. I'm going to do a shout out to y'all in chat, because to those who did requests that were filled, titles that were filled, and the venue, and I think it's a shorter list because there were fewer songs today. But I'll say this every show. The reason I do this shout out is because you guys are critical to this show. You guys are what makes these songs exist the way they do. I don't choose any of these sounds, right? You guys choose them. And I think you guys, the more you watch the show, the more you'll see that how important each set of sounds is to making the song what it is. If you give me a different set of sounds, something totally different will happen. If it's a fast tempo, it'll be totally different than if someone gave me the slow tempo. And the keys, or the beats, just think about how your usernames generate such different beats. So yeah, what got me excited about doing this show in the first place was not that it was a way for me to play again. I mean, that was part of it. but it was a way that I could play with people where you guys as an audience would become part of the music itself. You guys would help shape what happens. And if I would say, if I have any, the thing that makes me happiest, would make me the happiest is if any of you in chat who have never played an instrument before, or those of you who have but stopped, that you start playing a new instrument, or you start playing your old instrument, or maybe it's not music, maybe you want to paint or whatever, but there's something so singular of an experience to create things that have no purpose other than just existing, right? And that's something that's beautiful about art to me, is that it doesn't need a purpose, right? It doesn't need, we don't do it because we need to make money or whatever. We don't, we eat food, we enjoy food, but we have to eat food. And I think there's something beautiful about doing something that, at least on the surface, has no purpose other than just adding something new to the world that wasn't there before. So you guys are part of me adding something to the world that wasn't there before. Thank you. Let me do my shout out. So today we have 35 folks that I'm going to be shouting out. Let's see. I should be able to do 35. No problem. This should be absolutely no problem. No problem. This should be no problem. Okay, here we go. And for those of you watching at home, I'm going to leave the list on screen that you guys can see. It's over there. I will not say, some of these usernames I will be saying differently, and that's because they have asked me to address them in a different way than their username. So no, I am not cheating. For the record, I'm not cheating. I will say your username the way it is meant to be said. Okay, here we go. Today, we featured in the Superstars of Chat, we featured amazing requests, titles, and venues from the following. This is where I narrate every action I make as I take a breath, as I stretch, psych myself up for what is about to happen. Here we go. Okay. Tonight, we featured Aquintus, Arion Esquire, Azzazelynn, Beautiful Chaos 222, Beelzebub, B-Nick 4680, Chief, Quisco, Kubel Reason, Dom, Dorf, Fell, Fractured Encoding, George Takei, Greeley 99, Hat Machine, Haas 208, Jonas Kyle, Kitch Arming, Corbin, Kitty Cat, Casil, Manofplate, Buffett, Puffett, Nathan Roth, Nifty Guy 1, Ninja Fleas, Northern Boreal, Side Deer Recording, Sniper Bob 76, Sour Frog, SpookyFortress, Lost Elf, Unknown, Word Salad, and Elite. I did it. It wasn't my best performance, but I did it. That pause, I don't think I actually took a breath, but I did take a long pause, didn't I? Just the new names always catch me up a little bit. But thank you to you guys. You guys have been awesome tonight. We're gonna raid. We got a bunch of folks here. Let's raid somebody. Hold on. I'm gonna find a channel to raid. Let's see who's playing. I think I generally do random raids. Let me see. Someone who I've never heard before. Every once in a while, we'll raid someone twice, but that means you never know what you're going to get. That's the cool thing about Twitch. You have no idea what you're going to get when you click on a channel. Okay, this will take me just a second to find somebody who is still playing. Okay, just checking this out. Okay. So random raid. So after I wave goodbye to you guys, To Be or Not About will paste the link in, and To Be or Not About will start hosting which means their channel is going to pop up on my screen. But if you want to do the raid, you have to click on the link and go to their page and then type our raid call in. But whoever this streamer is, I don't know them, I don't know their music, but we're going to send them a ton of a set of love, send some good energy their way, make their night with the surprise raid. There we go. Okay. So, to be or not to be, Beautiful Chaos has it already. Thank you, everybody. You guys have been amazing. Whatever you're doing next, I hope it's the raid. But if it is not, wherever you are, whenever, whyever, however, whoever, whatever. I think I got all my evers. Whatever is next, I hope it is amazing. I hope you guys have a lovely, lovely weekend. I hope it is full of adventure or relaxation or compelling work or comforting time with friends and family or time alone to meditate. Whatever it is you need, I hope you get it. I hope it's wonderful, and I hope I will see you again. If not Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday or Friday next week, then maybe the next week or the week after. But thank you for hanging out with me. Thanks for hanging out with each other and being lovely members of chat. You guys have been great. I will see y'all again soon. I'm out. Bye.